Hi, it's James from BJ YGO. I just got first place at the Blackpool OTS today. Playing Voiceless. I got first at locals on Thursday as well. I just thought I'd share the list. So it's nothing special. It's just it's pretty standard, really. So first is the engine. Play 3 low. Doesn't need any explanation. Play 3 Saphira, again, not really an explanation needed. As for the rituals, we play 2 Skull, 2 Saravis. I don't play the Odd Eyes Revolution thing. I'm not entirely sold on it. It's like a spell negate, but the main thing is the summoning condition. Like, it's a bit funky to summon, and I'd rather just have cards that either push my plays through or obviously it is part of the engine. Play 1 Saravis. This card's like so good, it's actually crazy. Either summoning it off the trap or just its normal summoning condition to get out Saravis, or even the Skull Guardian if you've got your low stuck in grave. For the spells, it's 3 Barrier, 2 Ritual. It's actually really interesting when you draw it. It does seem a bit shitty sometimes when you draw it, and it just it sort of sticks in your hand. But you can always put it back with the Old Man, or you can put it back with the trap to summon. And yeah, if your ritual monster gets removed from the field, you can just banish it to summon another one from deck. It has to be removed by card effect, not just like battle or anything like that. So it's a really good way of like triggering low if you need to get it back out of grave, and like if you get super polyed or anything. It just, your board just comes back together and it doesn't really make a bit of difference. The trap's really good, and up until last week I was actually siding it out going second. I don't think that's right. I think keeping it in all the time is just so good. It's not good enough to play more than 1, but it's like a resource loop and also like an interruption. So the longer you can keep it up, it's actually insane. I just think that, well, up until Thursday, I didn't even know you could somehow search it off barrier, to be honest with you. So it just shows how bad I actually am with the deck, and how much learning I need to do with it. That's all the Voiceless voice stuff. As for other monsters that I play the triple Diviner. Diviner is basically just summon, to send Tiras. You can protect it with Saravis, and if you draw this, it's actually really cool because you can get past Veilers and Imperms, etc. with it. Because it is a quick effect to summon. I don't know, going second, I always side these out and just basically rely on low, because I'm playing a couple of extra ways to get to low. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like if you draw this going second, it kind of sucks, so I just want all my cards to do something going second. For hand traps, I play 3 Veiler, 3 Ash, 3 Nibiru, and 3 Imperm. I almost want to put in some Mourners as well. Like Veiler and Imperm are just like so good. Just like when they go like into the Ash or the Oak, and you can just turn off both sides of the effect, which obviously Ash doesn't do. Like if you Ash and Ash, you only take like half of the effect, so it kind of sucks in that regard. And Ash against fire decks is just awful. I just think it's really good against anything else that you might see, and where I play, there's not actually like tons of the Snake Eye stuff, so it's actually really good against like the random like sort of rogue decks and stuff like that. Going against like Snake Eye stuff, I always just side this out. I feel like it's just necessary to keep, and then obviously Nibiru is just a really good card this format. People always have to play into it, and if you pair it with any of the other hand traps apart from maybe Ash, it pretty much goes through all the time. On for spells, I've got 3 Pros for consistency. People play Extrav, I don't know why. In this deck, you don't want more cards, you just want specific cards. Draw's obviously horrible, but I don't know. I think that's just the weirdest part about this deck. Like, it can play under draw because like Saphira can add back from graveyard and stuff like that. However, I just think that I don't know. I just think Prosper is just the best sort of like non-engine search card that we've got, it gets you into the engine, it gets you into other bits of non-engine, it gets you into side, post side. I play 3 pre-prep, pretty bog standard. I've seen people like cut this down, and I don't see why, because this and Saphira are actually like very similar. They kind of accomplish the same thing. Obviously this is a bit more situational, that you actually have to have the 7 to play with as well. Like, whereas this, you're already rolling through your engine, so you've probably got a low at some point. Whereas this, like, because obviously the new ritual spell does name Saravis, so you can actually search Saravis with this as well. It gets you into your protection, and it just sort of gets your engine going, whereas this sort of, like, once you're already in your engine, this just obviously powers you forward, but pre-prep's insane. I'm playing Core Buy because hand traps suck, and I'm also playing Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is just there as basically an extra Core by the Grave going first, sorry. And then going second, you can go into Mud Dragon, Call Light, and it turns off their Veilers, Imperms, it turns off the Princess, because if this is your first summon, they can't Princess anyway. And it turns off quite a few bits of interaction, actually. I mean, it's only at once, you're only going to see it like every 1 in, 1 in 10 games or whatever, but when you see it, it's really good. And then I'm playing 1 for 1 as the another way to get to low. I want as many ways to get to low as possible, and usually when I'm building decks, if there's a specific card that I want to see, I want to try and keep my deck as close to 40 as possible, because you can obviously get ratios of like hand traps to like non-engine, and then no matter how much you go over 40, as long as those percentages stay the same, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Whereas if you're wanting to see specific cards, obviously every card that you add basically adds or takes away like a percentage that you're going to open it. But 1 for 1 is crazy, especially if you can open it with like Tiras or anything like that, or any of your other cards that fetch back from grave. Even like, you can even discard low if you have a Diviner as well, but it's just really good. Onto the side, I'm playing 2 Bestials. It's for the mirror, and also against Snake Eye it can actually be okay, because you can get rid of the Link Rebo, which can make it a bit awkward for them, and you can also, like when they go for Savage, you can also take out the like the Link Rebo and stop the negates. So I mean, they're okay. I think people thought that they weren't very good at first, but I'm actually quite surprised at how well they performed, and against some road decks as well, they're just really good. They sort of, they just stop them from playing. I'm playing 3 Bell. I think Bell's really good. It's better than Ash, because obviously when you Ash a fire player, they obviously can just use your Ash to extend, so if they don't stop, it just sort of it just gives them a bit more fuel. Whereas Bell, it's a bit more limited in its applications, but it can also hit some very detrimental cards. Like it can hit Kirin, it can hit the Princess, it can stop Amber Whale, and because this negates activations, you can also use it in the damage step. So if you beat over the Amber Whale and stuff like that, you can actually negate it with this. I play 1 Duster just in case of like mirrors or any rogue stuff. 3 Cosmic. This deck can kind of sort of die to anti-spell, so you kind of want this for the anti-spell. And it's just like good spot removal, hitting the Fire King Islands and stuff. If people are still playing the Fire King version, is just really good. I'm playing 3 Super Poly. It's good in the mirror if people don't respect it, because they can quite a lot of times they'll use the old man to shuffle back the ritual monster, not ritual monster, the ritual spell. And this is how you play it around Super Poly. You're meant to keep the ritual spell in grave, so when they Super Poly your dudes away, you use this spell to summon out a new ritual monster, and the low comes back, and then you back basically where you started, apart from they've obviously wasted this and another card. If they have it with Ash, then it's just unfortunate. But the main sort of way that they interact with your board is non-targeting. So it's okay, but I'd always keep one of the rituals sort of in grave. Against everything else, it's quite strong, to be fair. And then 3 Summon Limit is probably the best going first Floodgate. You can play Anti-Spell, but this deck's a bit weird when it comes to Anti-Spell. Obviously you can play with Saphira and stuff like that, but I'd rather just have Summon Limit, because I think no matter what your non-engine going first card is or floodgate, they're all going to lose to Cosmic anyway. So obviously anti-spell is really good in the fact that it can slow them down, but if they can get to an IP, they can out it. Whereas this, if they don't draw the non-engine, by the time they have 2 monsters on board to threaten it, you can just flip this over, and unless they have specifically something non-engine, they're not getting rid of it. So it's all right, and we get to play on both players' turns with the trap. It is a bit, it does kind of suck if you have to ritual summon and tribute the low, because obviously if you've had to normal this and then you ritual summon and this goes to grave, it doesn't come back and you don't get the Omni. But I think under summon limit anyway, like people just sort of struggle to play. So I think it's probably fine as long as you just play properly, use the trap on their turn and stuff like that. As for the extra, I've got Anima and Link Rebo, best Link ones. People play Almirage. I'm not playing it because I'm not playing the Fire Charmer, and it's another fire that people can play around with, but I've never really needed it. I play Masquerena, IP Masquerena. It's a weird one because a lot of people do the Dynamundo ending board, but if you can make an IP Masquerena, you can also I don't know, it feels like sometimes this is better because then you can threaten the SP on their turn, whereas Dynamundo just sort of gets you back to your Omni Negate and your low. It does require you, like, if you open with Instant Fusion, it makes making this a bit easier, but you do have to do a lot of summons to get the IP Masquerade on board, and it does play into Nibiru, so as long as you keep up the Skull Guardian and low, it's okay. The only Charmer I actually play is Dark. I'm not even sure if this is correct, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of the Charmers anyway, just because, I'll show you the rest of the links. It's just 2 Dynamundo. I'm not playing any big things to link climb into. I was originally playing like Selene and stuff, but the only way you get into Selene is like with Veiler, and I was playing Droll. I'm not playing Droll anymore, but it kind of felt like you had to see all this non-engine, so it wasn't like super reliable to get into the Selene access code stuff. And I find that really, you don't really go into the extra that much. You don't really need it. Dynamundo is crazy, and you can just do the whole Skull Guardian low into this, and then on their turn you can set up the trap as well as your barrier, but it's not always needed. And I find that the removal effect on summon, it is good, but the amount of times I summon this and I don't have anything to shuffle back with it, it's actually, it's crazy. I could maybe cut this down, but I don't know, I feel like 2 is probably fine. As for Synchros, I play 1 Herald to send off Diviner, and I play the Chaos Angel. You make this, well, basically when you summon Diviner, you go Trias Tribute, you summon low off the Diviner, and then you can make a Chaos Angel to banish something on their board, and then you can do the whole ritual summon and then bring the low back later. I've literally only summoned this once, and it was actually today. It never really comes up, but it's a nice thing to have because you make it with 2 lights, so it's not fully protected, but it is protected from activated monster effects. So I think it's something. It's just a banish and 3500 body. Typhon. Typhon's just it's a weird one. It's good when you're sort of struggling to break a board, and like certain decks like Branded and stuff like that, it's insane against. But against like Snake Eye, it's a bit weird because it can turn off stuff like the Flamberge, and sort of like one of my games that I played today, I've uploaded it. There was like a Savage that I was locking down with this, but it didn't max. He had far too many things going, so this is kind of like a Hail Mary, but in simplified game states, it is really good, and this card is just really good. And because the extra deck is just so lax, you can get away with playing stuff like that. For Instant Fusion, I play the Millennium Mars Restrict, which is basically just another copy of the Core by the Grave. The only thing it doesn't stop is the Imperms, which can kind of suck. But you know, you just sort of take them and hope they don't have it. If you want to play around Veiler Imperm, you can summon this off the Instant Fusion as well, and then just make it light so they can't actually do any of that. So if you open like Call By as well, you could obviously just go into this and then you won't have to worry about it too much. But this is obviously also a super poly target. So yeah, it's they're okay. Playing a Tis is another send off. Diviner, it's just spot removal. A couple of my games I've done this. Mostly you send in Tiras, but sometimes you need the spot removal or you need the search of Herald. I mean, I've played the tournament, I've played the deck in 5 or 6 tournaments now, and just I don't really send anything other than Tiras, to be honest with you, but I've sent this once or twice. Other super poly target is Garura. They're just like the main two generic ones. There's a couple more that I was thinking of playing, like Draco Quest or the Cyverse Golem, or I mean that's mainly it. There is another super poly target that I've got here, and it's Panzer Dragon. It's really good against the pure Snake Eye when they end on Savage Formula, because it requires a machine and a dragon. So you can just take away the Savage and the Formula, and then just summon this. And then basically, I think if it goes to grave, it has to be destroyed and sent to the grave. You can then just pop a card, but it's mainly just there to fuse away their guys. And then if you summon Diviner, you can, obviously, if it gets negated, that's 7 for your ritual. But it's kind of cool. I've still not made it yet, but I think it's okay. For changes, I think I don't know, I feel like I need to play even more hand traps or try and get it down to 40, because it is 42 cards. The deck's weird. It's like a ritual deck, so it's kind of, it's prone to bricking. And that's kind of the crap thing. Like, your engine is really strong, but it can kind of just struggle sometimes. And like the game that I lost today and the games that I tend to lose, I just sort of like don't have enough to stop them. Because ideally you want to open like 1 or 2 bits of engine and then like 3 hand traps. So I'm playing 12 hand traps in a 42 card list. So I don't know the exact maths on it, but I could probably add a couple more, but I don't know what I'd cut. The instant fusion's kind of cute, but I mean, for the amount that it comes up, you could probably cut it. Core Buy I think is too strong to get rid of, and then I just don't know what else I'd cut, to be honest. It's kind of difficult to find space. The deck kind of builds itself. But yeah, let us know what you think, and if you'd like to leave a comment or anything like that, roast me, tell me what I'm wrong, tell me what I've done right, anything like that, just leave it down there, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you.